Hey, Frank Paris here. This is a tutorial on my model time machines. These are wrapped very, very carefully when I send them out. I mean, it comes with the Tantalus box, and they're wrapped individually in a little cocoon type box, okay? And you should get it in the condition you see it in right now. But sometimes it doesn't happen. This goes in that box, that cocoon box, and then the cocoon box goes in here, and then this is all padded with extra foam and styrofoam and bubble wrap and that kind of thing, and then this gets closed. Okay, this Tantalus box gets closed, and it's wrapped around, and there's a little protective doohickey here, which goes on there to protect the little key that does not turn. It's not a real key. So all of this stuff is for the protection of the time machine and the Tantalus box. And there are fragile stickers all over this darn thing. This side up, fragile, 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 handle with care, that kind of stuff. 9 out of 10 times, I'm not going to say less than 9, but 9 out of 10 times, when you get this, it'll be perfect. There is a procedure when you get your time machine. And that procedure is an unboxing procedure, which I give you in video form with a link when you purchase one of my time machines. So, when you follow this procedure, your time machine should not have any problems. You should get it. Everything should be perfect. Now, worst case scenario, okay, worst case scenario. When you get this, one of these filigree pieces has fallen off. Or two, or all four. I mean, there are 4 of them. There are 2 on the back, and there are 2 on the front. So, in that case, if that happens, okay, this is what's going to happen. Either they're going to fall off, and these 2 pieces will be separated, or they will fall off, and they will be together. Okay, it doesn't matter which way they fell off. Usually, these are protected by the box that I put them in, the cocoon that I put them in. But UPS or FedEx, I never use USPS anymore, has a tendency to just, no matter what the box says on it, fragile, hand to God is needed to take care. These things could pop off. Now, this is not a difficult thing to put together again, okay? I'm going to hold this up to the camera so you can see how it looks, front and back. Everybody who gets one of these time machines is going to get the unboxing procedure. They're going to get how to put the dish on here, because the dish comes off and it is wrapped around the cocoon box that this is wrapped around, along with the little tiny crystal box that this guy goes into. So there's a procedure, and all of these procedures are, that's why I say you got to look at the videos that I send you, okay? But in any case, if they fall off, if one of them falls off or 2 of them falls off, and these little pieces are what you've got, maybe this guy is still together, you know what I'm saying, and it's glued, okay, and you don't have to do anything but glue it back onto the railing, okay. But let's just say for argument's sake, that it is off. Now, you can see with this piece right here, it hasn't been glued, okay. If you look closely, I will hold this brass piece right here, this filigree piece, that has not any glue on it because it's never been used. When I make these pieces, I curve them with the pliers, okay, and then I glue them to this particular filigree, which again has no glue on it. You can see that there's no glue anywhere on this. So, if yours fall off, if this piece falls off or that piece falls off, or one of these other pieces fall off, there's going to be glue residue on there. So, to put them back on, and I assume that everybody who is buying this model has some kind of dexterity or mechanical skill or some kind of an ability to take something and glue it back together. Now, we all know we break cups, our favorite cups break, the handle comes off, and we don't want to throw it out. So we may never use it again to hold coffee because, the glue may pop, not work, or whatever. So, but you don't want to throw it out. You want to save it. It's got a sentimental value, so you glue it with crazy glue. Okay, same thing with this. if one of these pops off, there's going to be glue on it. There's either going to be glue on this piece or there's going to be glue on this piece. So what you want to do is you want to get an emery board. That's an emery board. That's a lady's file. Okay, lady's file. Sometimes they look like this, sometimes they look like this, and sometimes they look like this. And sometimes they're metal. Probably if you're living with a woman, either married to one, a girlfriend, whatever, she's got one of these. So you can always ask her to borrow her emery board or her nail file, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to take this emery board and you're going to file off the glue on the one piece, because remember, these two pieces are made up in such a way to become one of these guys or that guy. So these two are together, and then the two of those are glued onto here, okay, as one piece. So this becomes one piece after you glue it together, and then you glue it onto this. I'm going to give you a close-up of these railings here so you can see how it's glued on there. Okay, so you're going to take the emery board, if it's popped off on any one of the four sides, and you're gently going to take where you see the glue, you're going to gently sand off the unit with the emery board until you can see the gold again, or close to it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to have a clean spot to do the re-glue for it, okay? So you have that piece, you've done that with that one, and then you come over to this one, and this is a piece of metal, this is brass, this is a brass railing. You want to do the same thing with this until you can see the brass. You don't want to go into the brass and scrape off its brass, you just want to make it smooth so that the glue is pretty much all gone. Then you look, because they're not all four going to fall off. They may not all fall off. They may. All four could come off in the traveling or transit to your location when you get the time machine. But let's assume that they didn't. So you want to look and see what this looks like. Okay? Once you see how this looks and how the metal railing is attached to the filigree, that's these two pieces right here, how they go together, okay? Then after you've taken off the glue, you want to gently take some crazy glue. It comes in this form, or this form, okay, or that form. A tiny drop, not even a drop, a quarter of a drop, goes on either one of the pieces, and then you glue it and hold it for about 25 seconds, okay? All right, once you've got that together, then based on how this is positioned here, because you probably have one or two that didn't fall off, and you can see that they are connected a certain way, you would glue these two pieces back together again, okay, onto here. Once they've been glued together, you take the whole thing and you arrange it in such a way so that it is, when you go to glue it, it's going to be in the same position as either one of these that might have fallen off or either one of these that might have fallen off. Okay, so that's basically it. And you hold it for 10, 20, 25 seconds until it doesn't move anymore. And then you've got your piece back together. And this is not rocket science. You don't have to be a model builder to do what I'm just saying to you. Okay, you have to have a steady hand. If you don't have the steady hand, there's somebody in your home that does. Okay, and let them look at this video. All right, and that's basically it. There's nothing else to it. Now, I have customers who call me up and say, oh, gee, I don't know how to do this. They want to send it back. I just had a customer recently. He bought the time machine and 3 of the 4 filigrees and brass rails came off. So I did him a solid. I said, we're not going to take this back, because if you take this back, you know what's going to happen? It's going to break more. You know, these are very delicate, and, you know, it could break more, or it could have an issue with traveling, me sending it back to you where it could break again, or these pieces could come off. So the best thing is for me to tell you how to fix it and not have to send it back. I mean, the machine is not going to be broken. Hopefully, God willing, they didn't drop it from a building. If they dropped it from a building, the way I pack them, it shouldn't damage anything, okay? But in case something else is wrong, that's a different story. Then you ship it back and we redo it, or we fix it, or we replace the whole time machine. So there's no issue with that. My reputation is solid when it comes to customer service with products like this and other products that I sell, both in the magician's world and in the modeling world. So there's no issue, okay? In fact, this recent customer lives in a place in Florida which is very rural. So I turned around and I said, how far are you from Daytona? And he said 38 miles. And I said, well, I've got somebody that'll fix this off for you in Daytona. I took $100 off of the price to cover his gas to go to and from Daytona. And I took another $100 off to give the person who can repair it in Daytona, okay, to fix it. And I gave him $10 for the emery board and the crazy glue. Okay, so that is happening sometime this week. It's it's August 2022. So he's in the next 2 or 3 days, he's going to be driving down to Daytona Beach. One of the model builders that I know down there is going to fix it for him because he's in a different place in Florida, and it's about 38 miles away. So that being said, the only issue that you may have with one of these time machines, for the most part, is these two guys popping off of each other, or one of them popping off, or they both pop off. Now, one other important thing is these two pop off. You're going to scrape the glue off of it with one of these emery boards gently, like you're playing a violin, a very light tune on a violin. You're not pressing down on the key, on the thing. Gently just scraping it away until you see brass or whatever it is. You want to get the glue off the brass too, okay? Wherever this is going to go, you want to get the glue off the brass. So you would gently scrape the brass here. I'm going to use this as an example. Gently just rub it back and forth a couple of times, and then move your finger across to see if there's any dust or any more glue on there. And you want to get down to the brass. And then when you do that over here, then you're ready to glue it back on. And for gluing purposes, the best thing to use is a crazy glue, and you want to take your crazy glue. I'm sorry, this is probably not going to come out. This is probably all dried up. But you want to take this crazy glue. Let's get this over here. And gently, I mean really lightly squeeze the crazy glue. And just a little dribble, a little tiny dribble, and just touch where you want to glue it, okay? Then take your other piece, okay, and then put it on and hold it for 10 or 20 or 30 seconds, and it'll be solidly on. You want to make sure that you see how these two pieces go together before you glue it, okay? Because then, if you didn't, you're going to have to break it apart and then resand it and that kind of thing. So that's basically all you have to do with doing a service or repair. Now, here's a crazy thing that happens. You get the time machine, and the pieces are off, but there's no pieces in the box. You got to look real carefully. Those pieces could be in tons of bubble wrap, or they could be in tons of saran wrap, or whatever wrap I use. I usually use this commercial wrapping stuff. So you want to look and make sure you don't have them. If you don't have them, we'll send you another set of them. Either 2 fronts or 2 backs, whatever you're missing. And then you won't have the problem of sanding those pieces. You'll just have the issue of gluing them together, and then maybe just sanding the railings where they came off of. Okay, so I think that's basically it. We're done with this session, and I think you're going to be able to handle any situation that happens when you get this thing. And again, there'll be minor inconveniences like these things here. To send the time machine back to have it glued could present more problems, and also it could sending it back to you could present more problems. So we don't want to do that. Anyway, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to close this out by saying Frank Paris, over and out. And thank you very much. I appreciate it.